Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Yagi the Bookshop Goat by Fumi Furukawa. Now before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled in this manga, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. Now for those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to violence and prejudice, as these things do appear in the manga. Now, if all that's good with you, let's go ahead and get started. Now as always, let's start out with a quick synopsis. In this world, herbivores and carnivores live amicably, though this is primarily because they live in separate zones, one catering to herbivores, the other to carnivores. However, even if you are an herbivore, it doesn't mean you'll be treated fairly in the section for herbivores. This is the unfortunate case for Yagi, a goat who wants nothing more than to work at a bookshop. However, like most goats, Yagi has the habit of eating paper, which doesn't work out too well for his employers. Unable to get a job at any herbivore bookshop, Yagi goes where he shouldn't, a carnivore bookshop, managed by a wolf named Ukami. Ukami gives Yagi a job, and while Yagi does eat a book on occasion, Ukami scolds him but lets him work there all the same. Yagi thinks it's simply because Ukami is kind, but there's something more behind the wolf's good deeds. Not only does he have a complicated past, but he might see Yagi as more than just an employee. Now this is super, super, super cute. The art is just everything I could want and more. It's adorable to say the least, and surprisingly lewd. I had no idea there would be mature scenes in this just by its look. But there is some sexy time to be had in this one-shot manga, so don't be fooled by the wholesome artwork. While it is an overall wholesome story, it does get down and dirty too. It is a short story, of course, and as a result, it isn't that deep of a story, but it isn't superficial either. Ukami's story in particular is really sad and highlights the prejudice there is in this world against carnivores. He was raised by herbivores and helped at his parents' bookshop in the herbivore zone, where Yagi actually met him as a child. However, when his parents died, he couldn't keep up the bookshop because no one there trusted him as a carnivore, so he was forced to leave behind the bookshop and Yagi. It's heart-wrenching that he was forced to give up his home, his parents' business, and even his best friend just because he was a carnivore in the herbivore zone. However, the fear of carnivores isn't unfounded, which we see through Kuma, who's attracted to Yagi and inadvertently hurts him due to him being a bear. It was interesting to see the fears expressed by herbivores in action. The prejudice doesn't stop there though, as Yagi's also prevented from accessing certain facilities and working in certain places in the herbivore zone simply because he's a goat. Because goats have a predisposition to eating paper, they're usually not allowed in libraries and aren't able to work in facilities where there's a lot of paper. So Yagi's only chance at achieving his dream is to go to the carnivore zone, a place he usually would never go to, nor any herbivore for that matter. It's an interesting dynamic to see how those put into untenable situations are forced to work around those prejudices to achieve their dreams. Finally, I have to talk about the one part of this that really makes it worth reading. This concept isn't all that unique, herbivores and carnivores being separated, a dangerous relationship between an herbivore and a carnivore, etc. What makes this super unique, in my opinion, is the ability that Yagi has. He can taste a book's flavor and even pick up the writer's emotions. It's a super interesting idea that I wouldn't have expected. It leads to many fun and interesting scenarios, especially between Yagi and Ukami, when Yagi eats paper that Ukami wrote on. I personally think this is worth reading just for that, because it's something I don't think I'll see again in many other stories. Now with all that being said, this was charming, wholesome, and refreshing. If you're looking for something pretty light with a succinct romance, you can't go wrong here. The art's adorable and consistent, you get some nice lewd scenes without being overly obscene, and you get a nice short story that isn't superficial. It's definitely worth reading when you get the chance. So, have you read Yagi the Bookshop Goat? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!